The one thing people
Yes.
hate online, especially our particular group of people, they hate inauthenticity. Yes, I said that on purpose, and I know that we are live now. Again, if you tune in every
Oh,
week, it is not Miss Kimberly's fault that we are 12 minutes late today. It is actually as one's fault. As one has this omelet that he loves on his way. And the thing is, I knew it was gonna make me late, but I still called anyway and just said, "Look, man, your belly needs something today." All right, folks. So anyway, as one Crookshank here, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division One college football player, and current five-time published author and educator, back for another Stay Hired Sunday. Kimberly, how you doing today?
I am excellent. Up early for a grandkids soccer game and ready to go.
Oh, so you came from a soccer game? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't. All right,
Yes.
so she told me this before we started recording. It didn't connect. So she left the soccer game to come do this. This is the
Yeah.
commitment, this is the level of commitment that we expect from ourselves if we're going to be asking the same out of you. It's commitment, commitment, commitment. We do this on a Sunday. So before I get started today, I want to kind of give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about your company as briefly as you can as we get into today's topic, because there may be some newer listeners coming into these regular YouTube streams.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hmm.
So, Art and HR Solutions is an HR company, but when you think about HR, it's just not the bad HR who does write ups. We do great things like innovative solutions for different operational issues that you have. It could be you need to change policy, you need to have employee engagement, training and development, all those great things we can help you with. And you can visit us at ardentHRsolutions.com.
All right, and I'm glad we led there because we can dive. And again, if this is your first time tuning in, we usually like to keep you here around 30 minutes. We know it's a Sunday. We know you're very busy and you got lives and things that you want to be getting to. But if you do want success in your workplace, if you are tired of feeling like you're invisible and you're not growing in your workplace, 30 minutes should be nothing on a Sunday to simply learn a little bit about how you can continue to create value in work, even when your superiors are not creating that value. So what you do on the Sunday is going to dictate how well your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays go. That's just a fact of life. The folks that are putting in the work on the Sunday, there's something that's going to be beneficial down the line. So today we are discussing mergers and creating your own department. And I got to tell you, I came up with this topic probably maybe I'd say last night, because one of the things that has happened to me in my place, my day job, for those of you who don't know, is I teach at a brand new startup school named the Center for Creative Education. And for you regular listeners, you guys know on a Saturday, I'm sitting by the bar, I'm watching ball, and you get guys you're just meeting people, you're having conversations, and a lot of the times they don't realize that I'm actually working in my mind. So I happened to meet a real old time, like it's this bar I go to named Duffy's, real old school cat who's been teaching for like decades, a retired teacher, and then he asked me, he goes, "So are you even certified to teach?" I'm like, "Nah, man, like, nah." I kind of landed in the business because I have my books out, and this is a startup school that we were able to collide when it comes to my entrepreneurial vision and what they're trying to do as a school. And it dawned on me that one of the roles that in my opinion, I've been kind of lackadaisical when it comes to actually getting this done, is my role should be to create a sports department. So the name of the school is the Center for Creative Education, PCEFlorida.org. You guys can go on there now and look at what it's all about. It's an art integrated curriculum and all that stuff. So I went to the president of the school. Shout out to Bob if you're listening. I went to him earlier and I was like, "Hey man, would you have a problem if I created a website that just says CCE Sports?" And the only thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get young athletes to enjoy reading in some kind of way. I want to go to a youth sports team and say, "Hey, who's your favorite player?" I want to find those players and see if they have a book about them, a lot like myself, and then have donations go towards paying for the books to get into the kids' hands. And then the challenge just becomes getting them to read the books. Because right now, the way the system is set up is kids aren't reading at a poor grade level because they don't like to read. They don't like what they're reading. So I just
Yes.
want to make it
Right.
so what they read is something that they'd be interested in. And let me tell you, Bob had absolutely no problem with it. He goes, hey, he used the name as long as it's pulling in donations, as long as it's doing something that's going to be helping the school, then go ahead, go for it. And it brought me to it. And that's, I was kind of, I'm bringing you guys into this bar conversation I'm having with this stranger who's been teaching for years. So I was kind of saying that to him. And it was right then, Kimberly, I texted you. I'm like, hey, you want to talk about mergers tomorrow? You want to
I'm like, sure.
so what happened was I'm bringing this to you as an expert who's in HR because I feel very blessed that I'm in a situation where I can go to a superior, someone who runs the school, and say this and it'd be no problem. But everybody doesn't have that situation. Everybody is not in a
Right.
place where they can just text someone, go directly to someone, and say, "Hey, I have this great idea to help you," and it doesn't get shut down. So, can you kind of give the HR perspective, I guess, on what would constitute as a positive merger, I guess, and how would somebody go about creating their own department, and creating their own lane in a company, I guess, that would have more red tape or there'd be more legal things to follow and all that. So I'll let you take it away when it comes to that.
Okay. Well, it's very fascinating you said that. The first thing that you said was that you wanted to create a sports department, but then you went into doing it for donations, right? And for
Mm-hmm.
the books. So a department and setting up a donation site are two different things. But
Uh,
what you did have was your vision. This is
mhm,
what I want to do. And that's the first thing. You have to identify the need, which you did. You want kids to read and
mhm.
something that they like. And so it was for growth. But to get
Yes.
those books, you had to, get donations. And
Right.
so when you go to a company and you find a need, whatever that need is,
Mm-hmm.
you have to make sure that you have a plan. You just don't come out and say, hey, I think we should start this department.
Mm-hmm.
So have a plan. Why do you need it? Because you have to sell it to stakeholders. So
Mm-hmm.
why do you need it? Do some research on other companies, like companies, and see,
Mm-hmm.
do they have this department and is it successful? And
Right.
what's going to bring it to the table? How are you going to save money for the company by having this
Mm-hmm.
and so once you do that and you create a mission for the department, what they're going to do and how it's structured, then at that point you could take it and sell it
Mm-hmm.
to usually it's your manager that you're speaking to,
Mm-hmm.
and say, hey, what do you think about this? And you have the why, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and what it's
Mm-hmm.
going to look like. I would at least go 5 years,
Right.
of what 5 years would bring, because the companies has to make money, right?
Right.
So you could even stretch yours, for example. Yes, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it donations, but
Mm-hmm.
what if you do some type of, like you said, football camp where the
Right.
kids are, learning some type of sport, not just football.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be something that you could.
So when it comes to let's say it's a company that is a little more structured than CC because again CC we're all about creative education and we're all about helping private kind of bringing in private teachers and having their own ideas. So again, it's very much it's I don't want to say it's easy, but it's doable to go directly to people who are in leadership roles and just
Right,
talk things out. But I can imagine if there's a company like tomorrow's live stream is going to be all about Nike and Under Armour, and I know for a fact that those companies there's a really rigid system in terms of
yes,
what they allow people to do outside of their brand. In fact, when I was working at Orange Theory, and there was even any inkling whatsoever in trainers going and train people outside the gym. It was like they were fired immediately. Same thing at LA Fitness. Like some of the trainers have to sign a non-compete that they don't put anything out on their website in which they're going to be training people outside of the gym. How do you advise those folks who have their own vision? And I'm just talking fitness because that's my background. But if we're
right,
talking about a company like, let's say, maybe a CBS or maybe a company that is selling like I'm in the medical field, right? Something where people's lives are dependent on a certain system and they've gotten to the top and they don't want to like it's either you leave your job and go do your own thing or you're doing it my way. Can you speak
right,
to those folks a little bit in terms of uh, how detail oriented their plan and their vision have to be because that's one of the things that you had mentioned is the plan and the actual detail in the plan and how it's going to help over the span of 5 years. Can you speak to how detail oriented they're gonna have to be if they're really truly serious about stepping out on their own.
It, extremely, because what have you done for me lately? I mean, they're gonna
Hmm.
want to know what they get from this company, right? So it
Hmm.
has to be extremely detailed. You have to have the facts. You have to have what you're doing. You have to have market studies to show that this is going to bring value to the company. And
Hmm.
oftentimes you may hear no, and then
Right.
you can then start a dialogue. Well, why is it? Because
Right.
you don't know if they have something planned or. That's why I said
Hmm.
go to that your next up leader, because they
Right.
could know something that's coming. So just
Hmm.
having an open dialogue, but be ready when you have that open dialogue, because they're going to ask
Hmm.
you questions as to the why. And so you want to come up with even solutions to. It's just like sales. It's exactly like sales.
Yeah.
You're going to come up with the why answer to every rejection they have,
Hmm.
for it. If they don't have something in the works, you have to come up with why it's good, and
Uh-huh.
kind of ward off those rejections.
Under what circumstances do you advise a person to go out on their own? Because this is something that I have actually had to live through. I worked in a gym named Spunk Fitness, which again, surprise, surprise, is no longer in business. But we had a specific manager that decided that they weren't going to listen to my ideas, and I'll probably keep you on here for an hour if I was to go on story after story. But, when did you advise your clients and the people that you look to serve to just say, look, the guy or female is too stubborn. I'm going to go do my own thing, and if I'm going to fail on my own, how does that conversation go?
So some people are just not going to change. They're not forward
Yeah.
thinkers. And so when you hit that brick wall with your company, and you want to start your own company, you have to be
Mhm.
driven. You know what you said about getting Sunday ready for the whole week is so true, and we've talked about it
Mhm.
often. So you have to be willing to put in the work for it. So number one, make sure that you're willing to do that, because
Mhm.
you're not going to make it working 8 to 5 Monday
Oh,
through
hold on.
right.
You froze there for a little. Wait. You
Oh,
you froze there for a little bit.
okay. Am I back now?
We you froze at like willing.
Okay. You have to be willing to work hard, because it's not going to work Monday through Friday 8 to 5. So you have to be willing to do that.
Mhm.
Then you have to make sure that your idea or product or service, there's a market for it in your area, or wherever you wish to serve. Because sometimes things
Right.
could sound like a great idea, but it's not really a business idea, right? So, I mean, at
Right.
the point where you say, I am no longer feeling fulfilled, and I want to do this, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to give up,
Mhm.
that's when I advise them to do.
Okay, and that leads me to another part of this entire topic today. If you're just joining us, we're talking the value of mergers and creating your own department within your organization when it's time for you to step out on your own, when it's time for you to go to your boss, your manager, present an idea, how to do that. We're the topic today where we're discussing all of that. And the question now becomes when it comes to that other side of life, the personal side of life, and when you actually have a family and you're talking to younger kids where there are newer couples or newer families and all that kind of stuff. Can you speak a little bit on some of the factors that you have lived through when it comes to maybe saying, hey, you know, whether it's a significant other, or maybe even some examples you can share from other places, because I have quite a few. When it comes to, hey, you go to your wife or your husband or your family and say, hey, I'm ready to start this thing on my own, and they aren't showing you the confidence that you may want, or they may be showing you the confidence. I don't know what the situation is, but the the thing that I really kind of want to get your thoughts on is how are we able to balance your goals, your vision, your personal aspirations for your career with what your family's telling you to do. Because what I've learned is it's really not as much the boss, quote unquote, when it comes to creating your own department and having mergers. It's so much of it is actually the conversation that's going on in the household that you're living in, and then the
Right.
personal relationships that you had just had. And you had just mentioned something that's pretty powerful in terms of going to other colleagues and going to other friends and getting their feedback, and if it's good feedback or if it's something that you should be listening to and all that. So kind of explain all that and dive into that a little bit, and I'll give you some of my thoughts as well.
Okay. So, number one, most times your family and friends will not support you because
Woo!
they.
Whoa, okay, we gotta we gotta take a 30-second timeout, folks. All right, she just hit you guys with something really strong, and I know I said I'd give her a time to talk, but when she starts bringing it, when she takes a baseball bat out like that and hits a home run, certain things need to be stopped
We like being
because
honest and authentic here, though, right?
that's what I'm
Let's be
saying.
real.
Like that shit was true, and I just came from church. I'm working on the swearing. I swear I am. I'm working on the swearing, but the point and the generalization of it is, and I'm not someone that is really big on generalizations per se, but this one has actually been true in every single walk of life, regardless of what the industry is. Your family and friends will not support you initially. All right, we're not BSing you here. It's just not innate in them, your family and friends, to support your professional aspirations because before you had your professional aspirations, they were your family and friends. So now that you have these professional aspirations, they're just not naturally going to support it. And that's all I'll say for now. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead where you were going with
Okay. So, and I'm not saying I have, a couple of great people that support, right, that are
it.
cheerleaders. But when you first tell people, whether it's family or friends, their first
Right.
reaction is usually like, oh, well, how are you going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And so don't expect that. And you're going to have to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as you keep your drive, that's it. You just have to stay disciplined and what you want, make the plan, and then go for it. Pivot if you need to, but just
Right.
don't quit. You're going to
Right.
find support like Aslan and I met. We support each other. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
find your tribe. My coach, Derek, he supports me, and, and all of us, when
Mm-hmm.
you're driven to, do a good job and for your business, you do it at work. Why not do it for your business even
Right.
more? But
Right.
do not expect support from the normal people. And
Right.
it's not that they don't want you to be successful, they just don't understand. That's
Right.
it. They don't understand.
Right. And as we coach people through that, it is really important to mention the importance of going and talking to strangers. Okay, guys, I can't tell you how important just that element is in itself. Man, it's what 2024, so we're marking year 8 now that I moved to Florida, and it was literally after Thanksgiving. I remember going. It was in Virginia. We have a timeshare in Virginia, and it was all of the comfort you can think of, Kimberly. Okay, we're in Macedon. My parents have this timeshare. We have a great Thanksgiving. All my family and friends are there. We spend the weekend there, and then my father, luckily, he bought a brand new car, and I was driving his old 20-year-old Mercedes Benz with no radio. And I packed up everything I had, put it in the car that weekend, leaving this comfort, leaving this house, Silver Spring, Maryland. Again, a very cozy situation to
Right.
drive to Florida from Maryland with no job offer, no real contacts, no family members. The closest family member I have out here in Florida was in Miami, and I wasn't even considering living in South Florida at the time. And I just had to go. All right. There was no inkling that I was going to actually be employed. There was nothing happening. But what I did know is before that is I knew that I had an ability and I had a drive, and I knew that being in Florida, they love their football, they love their fitness, and there's as one women, like we'll say Miss Crookshanks written all over South Beach and all that, but we won't get into that because I have a leg on. There's the as one types that he wants, and
Right.
as long as I knew those 3 things, I can go build a life in Florida. And I say all that to you guys is because she is 1000% right. Your family, as much as you love them, as much as you want them to get what you're doing, it won't happen until you take action and you show them
Yes.
you're not playing. You're not effing around. This is your life. You don't necessarily, it's not that I disdain or I hate my family or anything like that. They were the first people I called when I finally did get a job, and I'll be there. Actually, I'll be there for Thanksgiving this year. I'm always speaking very highly of them. but at the same time, I knew exactly what it is I wanted, and it wasn't in Maryland. And I bring that to your attention because it's going to get to that extreme if you really believe. At this point, we're 20 minutes in. We're talking to the real believers. All right. I know for the folks that are just kind of breezing by, they're going to see this headline and be like, okay, let me go watch some bullshit online. I don't need this. Let me go complain about my job and not look at what that title says. But for the folks that are staying around and say, okay, let
Right.
me let me let me see what's really going on, it's gonna get to that extreme because life moves forward. It gets to be more. You wake up with this goal. You wake up with this thing that you have to the point where you're gonna feel like you're dying if you don't go and pursue it. You're gonna feel like you don't have this something you're missing in your life if you don't simply go and pursue it. So I bring that
If
up
you're not
because
passionate
yeah,
about it,
yeah,
right?
actually, yeah,
If
I was
you
gonna.
are not passionate, you're just going day by day,
Mhm,
stop doing that. Do what you love. We
mhm.
work a lot anyway. Even if it was for a company, why do
Right,
something you hate?
right,
So then go after what you do love, because
right. But
that
that, all
makes
right.
a huge difference.
Yeah, but that's my point, and that's the thing. We have 10 minutes, and I want to make sure we get this on the record, and get you on wax saying, and get myself on wax actually saying this, because the further that you step into this world, the more that you move into this world, the easier you're going to be able to detach yourself, or I kind of see the folks who are not going to be with you in the long haul. All right. I
Yeah,
experience this every single day when somebody tries to say my name the correct way. Again, the correct saying to my name is Aswan, right? And when I remember meeting people and they would just kind of brush it off, I knew that that was a person that was going to be in my life for the long haul. And it's the same thing even now when it came to what started this whole conversation, started the topic today, is when I came up with the idea of CCE Sports. I went to nobody but the actual man who could say yes or no. But all the people around me, all the
right.
teaching colleagues, all the folks around me who would love to entertain the conversation, love to complain about the job, love to complain about all the other stuff going around, they're not going to even, I'm not even going to approach them with an idea that came out of my head that I know I can make work because you know that it's not going to serve you at all. It's just not. It's not going to serve you at all.
Right.
Only go to the folks that are going to give you the yes or the no. And it was so crazy how it happened because Bob he was having a really long day, and it was like the first time I saw him for like maybe a couple of days because he was in meetings and all that. And it just happened matter of factly because I'm on my way to do something with the kids, and he's just coming out like, oh yeah, by the way, Bob. And I was able to say it in such a quick way that boom, you get the okay, and now I could work on it throughout this week. So, and I know I kind of ramble on, but I ramble when it comes to this particular topic. When it comes to the advice that you can kind of leave people with in terms of how to actually take the first step, which would be, making sure you develop the courage or whatever it is you want to call it, however you want to do it, but you got to go and tell somebody. What exactly do you sort of advise, or how do you sort of recommend they go about doing that particular thing?
Like saying they're going to start a business
Yeah,
and telling
like saying
someone
they're gonna
that.
either start their own department within their own company or being able to branch out and say, all right, I might have to just pack it in. I might just
Right.
pack it in and go build up my own thing.
Develop an elevator speech.
Mm, mm.
Typically have 15 seconds, right? Before someone says yes or no. And so have that nailed down.
Mhm.
What is it that you're going to do and how are you going to make it? If you grab their attention, that's all you
All right. Well, hold on. I
need.
gotta pause you real quick because I want to make sure. Can you just explain what an elevator speech is to anybody that may not know?
Sure, it's
Mm.
two or three sentences saying what you do and how you do it.
What you
What
do,
are
how
you
you.
doing and why are you great at it?
All right. I made sure because I want to make sure, and I will get the clips to you too. By the way, I should be getting more coming today. Actually, 24th. Yeah, 24th. I should be getting more hours. But so elevator pitch. What you do, how you do it. That's it. What you do, how you do it. That's it. What you do, how you do it. Make sure you nail that as well. All right, nail that as well. I'm glad you brought that up. But anyway, go ahead.
So then, because once you have it, you're confident in,
Hmm.
then you can say it doesn't matter who you're talking to.
Yes. Hmm.
Then you could just say it. This is who I am and what I do. That's it.
Yes.
If they want to ask more questions, which they will, if you're trying to open a department in your company, of course, either way, you're going to have a plan ready because you're not going to talk about something
Hmm.
without having a plan. You don't know if it's a viable option.
Right.
No matter if it's your own company or with someone else, like open, you
Hmm.
have to have facts to back what you're saying. You have to do a market study when you open your business too, because you can
Hmm.
see what does my customer need? Who is my customer? What does my customer need?
Right.
And that'll help you make your. But I would say it just like that.
Hmm.
If you're 100% on board, no matter which way you're doing it, your confidence alone will.
Yes. And I will actually, the one thing I'll add to that is uh, don't just develop the elevator pitch. You got to practice it in on your own. You got to practice it in the mirror.
Yes.
You got to practice it and practice it and practice it. And if you're lucky enough to have a job in which you can afford coaching, there's no hands that you have got to pay for it. Go pay
Yes.
someone to get up in your behind, get what you want hot seat, and say, let's go, and be able to answer every single objection, every single rejection, every single possibility as to
Yep.
why your idea won't work. Make sure you get around some folks like that so they can really grill you, and it's gonna help you during those dark times. It's gonna help you when you can really just shut everything down. I'm only telling you the stuff I've actually lived through, being in the world that I've come from. There's a lot of people, a lot of different ideas, and I've had a lot of mentors that said, "Hey, Oswald, we're gonna see if we're gonna see if you're for real, regardless of how good the product or the system or the service may
Yes.
be. We're gonna see how much you actually believe in it." And I'll close you guys out with just this concept because I was must have been in like my early 20s. I had just graduated college. Shout out to Omar if you're listening. I was just starting my Gym 44 idea, and it was before it was a website and all that. And I was just telling him about the concept and what it is I was trying to do. And he's a trainer, so again, who better to go to with an idea named Gym 44 than someone that's a trainer? And I remember I wasn't able to say it as distinctly as I'm able to say it now, but I texted it to him and he responded back with like, see, this shows more passion than your actual words do. So you typing up something on a text, typing up something on an email is not going to work. Your passion has to
No.
be literally bleeding out of you as you speak on your subject, as you speak on what it is you're trying to do, and as you speak on the way you want to serve people. So all that being said, I'll give you the microphone a little bit to kind of close us out with any final words that you may have, and you can replug whatever it is you're trying to replug and all that good stuff.
Casual today, I see.
Wait, hold on. You froze one more time. Give it a second. You froze one more time. Give it a second. Okay, we lost. Oh, there you are. I bet. Okay, we lost. Oh, there you are. I bet. You might need to unmute yourself. You might need to unmute yourself. Armand. Armand.